Welcome to this new automotive news video. Today is July 21, 2026, and we're going to talk about Chinese brands that have just reached a historic milestone in Europe. From Audi, which is now sharing more details about the return of the legendary Audi A2. From Volvo, which will be able to save its European factories thanks to Chinese brands. And about a new SUV that's coming in at a price that's starting to seriously worry European brands. These are the topics of this video for July 21st. I hope you'll find them interesting. If that's the case, as usual, I'm counting on you to show it by leaving a like, subscribing for the next videos, and boosting this one if the option's available to you. And of course, also by leaving a little comment where you simply share your opinion about today's news. Just before that, I wanted to quickly talk to you about BMW and Mini, who have just canceled their participation in the 2026 Paris Motor Show. Not because they're afraid of being embarrassed by the comparison between their new models and the armada of Chinese models arriving there. It's due to economic reasons. After financial and global results that were well below the group's forecasts, the German manufacturer preferred to withdraw from the largest French auto show to refocus its priorities, an absence that will deprive the public of several major new releases, like the upcoming electric M3 or the new X5. But at the same time, it will also deprive BMW of an important showcase and media coverage that brands usually benefit greatly from during this auto show. While BMW refuses to participate in the Paris Auto Show, Chinese brands, they, on the other hand, continue to enter the European market with vehicles that are always cheaper and always better equipped. This is the case with Omoda, a brand from the Chery Group, the premium cousin of the Geico brand, which has also been present in Europe for a few months now, and is now unveiling its Omoda 7. It's a new plug-in hybrid SUV, 4.66 meters long, and it's based on the same technical platform as the Geico 7. So it will use the same engine, which is a 1.5-liter four-cylinder plug-in hybrid gasoline engine. The combustion engine produces 140 horsepower, and combined with the electric part, it reaches 280 horsepower. It comes with an 18.4 kilowatt-hour battery. This allows it to claim up to 90 kilometers of fully electric range, and a total range of 1,200 kilometers with a full tank of fuel. Right from the base trim level, it also offers very comprehensive equipment, including shock absorbers with dual hydraulic stops. This is a technology that was once found at Citroën, and which we're now more used to seeing on the high-end models of German brands. But Omoda has decided to offer it at a very low price, because that's what's most impressive about this vehicle. It's not really its technical specs. It's the fact that it's going to be sold starting at 38,990 euros. That's a bit more expensive than the MG EHS, but in this price range and in this segment, you only find Chinese brands. If you want to go back to European brands in this category for a plug-in hybrid, you have to accept either having much less power, paying a lot more, or both at the same time. For example, the 3 minutes plug-in hybrid is 39,500 euros for 195 horsepower with less equipment. And if you want similar equipment and power, you have to look at Toyota, which offers its Ray V4 plug-in hybrid with over 300 horsepower, for around 53,000 euros, a price that is likely to give some cold sweats to the traditional brands we're used to seeing on our market, whether they're European or Japanese. Interestingly, some Chinese brands actually let European brands like Volvo keep their European factories running, which is paradoxical. A few years ago, no one could have imagined this scenario. Now, Chinese brands may secure the future of one of Europe's largest car factories. Volvo has just signed a major agreement with the Belgian government to secure the future of its Ghent factory. The goal is clear: to ensure long-term production at the site and strengthen its competitiveness. To achieve this, Volvo will receive about 100 million euros in public aid to help transform its factory. A transformation is necessary since Volvo will no longer only assemble Volvos at this factory, but will also assemble other cars, other brands from the Geely Group. It's a big Chinese group. It's the group that owns Volvo. In Ghent, we will continue to produce Volvos, but we will also soon start assembling Geelys, Zeekrs, and even Lynk & Co. It's an agreement that is crucial for Belgium, because this factory still has 6,300 employees. It's the largest car factory in Flanders, and it's the main economic player and employer in the sector, not to mention, of course, the thousands of indirect jobs with subcontractors. In this context, preserving a company like Volvo by any means has become a major economic issue. This is the first time the Belgian government has given so much money to a car brand in the form of a subsidy. Subsidies that may indirectly benefit the Chinese automotive industry, since Geely, which will be able to assemble vehicles for all these brands in Europe, will be able to sell them by avoiding certain taxes on electric cars, but also it will be able to let them benefit more easily from the European eco-score. So we have Chinese brands that are no longer just trying to conquer the European market, but are now looking to establish themselves directly at the heart of the European automotive industry. This is a change in strategy that could have major consequences in the years to come. By the way, speaking of major changes, you should know that Chinese brands have just reached a historic milestone in the European market. The figures for the European market for June 2026 have just been released. And during this period, Chinese brands have achieved a new historic record. With 150,000 cars sold, that's a spectacular increase of 118% in just 1 year, which is huge in a European market that has only grown by 13%. Not only are there sales records, but also, and this is probably the most important, a record market share. Remember, in May, they managed to surpass the 10% market share mark. This market share has grown even more, as we're now at 10.9%. Almost 11% market share compared to only 5.7% a year ago. In other words, in just 12 months, their market share has almost doubled. The three Chinese groups that are doing the best in our European market are MG, up 52%, and BYD, up 146%. And the Chery Group, which owns Geico and Omoda, which we just mentioned, is up 262%. Another key point. Hybrids are now the primary weapon for Chinese manufacturers. Sales of Chinese full hybrids have skyrocketed by 240% during this period, while plug-in hybrids have still increased by 213%. This strategy is far from insignificant because unlike fully electric cars, hybrids, plug-in hybrids, or range extenders made in China are still not affected by the EU tariffs that put in place at the end of 2024. These taxes only apply to fully electric cars, not to the others. The BYD Auto A2 confirms its success during this period with 12,000 sales. For the second month in a row, it becomes the best-selling Chinese model in Europe. It is also the best-selling plug-in hybrid SUV on the European market, across all brands, not just compared to other Chinese brands. In fact, it ranks 7th in the top 10 best-selling small SUVs in our market. Again, that's across all brands. Among electric cars, it's the Lit Motors T03 that leads with 6,000 units, becoming the best-selling Chinese electric car in Europe, the 10th best-selling electric car on the market, and the 3rd bestseller in the mini-city car segment. Finally, in the first 6 months of the year, Chinese manufacturers sold 685,000 cars in Europe, which is 101 more than last year. During the same period, in a European market that only grew by 5.9%, if you want more information about the European market, you should know that in June, the Tesla Model Y once again became the best-selling car in Europe, with 32,000 registrations, an increase of 43%. And it overtook the Dacia Sandero, which totaled 25,000 sales, but had been penalized for many months by major logistical problems that simply prevented Dacia from delivering its new cars to its customers. The 3rd best-selling car in Europe is the Renault Clio. Also, among Europe's 10 best-selling cars this year, only the Tesla Model Y and Toyota Yaris Cross have increased sales, with the Yaris Cross up 11.1%. The rest, including historic models, are declining. In other words, the ranking of the best-selling cars in Europe is becoming more and more unstable, a sign of a rapidly changing market where traditional manufacturers now have to face increasingly intense competition, especially from China. To better compete with Chinese brands, European manufacturers, especially German ones like Audi, are finally deciding to return to the small car segment. More than 20 years after the original Audi A2's commercial failure, Audi plans to relaunch it, and we're now getting more details about this upcoming model. The brand has confirmed that it will indeed be called the Audi A2 e-Tron, which is quite surprising, since Audi has dropped the e-Tron naming for all its other electric cars. It will be directly connected to the brand's historic headquarters in Germany in Ingolstadt. It will be the new entry-level electric model from Audi. However, unlike the original model, it will not use an aluminum structure. You have to understand that this A2 shares almost nothing with the original A2 except its shape. To reduce production costs, Audi will adopt a steel structure and use the Volkswagen Group's MEB technical platform, which is used for the base of the Volkswagen ID.3 Neo, but also for the Cupra Born. So there's a good chance, even though it's not confirmed yet, that it will use exactly the same batteries and the same motors. So there's a good chance we'll find them under its hood. In the highest-end versions, the 325 horsepower electric motor that currently equips the Cupra Born VZ. But also, and this would actually be a good thing, the 79 kilowatt-hour battery, a powertrain that could allow the Audi A2 e-Tron to exceed 600 kilometers of range according to the WLTP cycle, which would be pretty good for a small car. The big question is, how much is it going to cost? If it costs the same as a Renault 5, it's clearly going to be a bestseller. Or at least, it will have every chance to become one. On the other hand, if Audi makes the same mistake it did with the original A2, meaning making it too expensive, and hoping customers will pay more to finance technological innovations, we'll probably see the same failure. Audi is now transforming its original concept into an electric car. aiming to finally achieve the commercial success this unique model never had. That's it for today's news. I hope you found the video interesting. If that's the case, as always, please show your support by liking, subscribing, and becoming a supporter through the join button below. It's really important for those who want to give me a little support in the long run. Thank you to those who have already taken that step. Thank you to those who are just taking a look. And, well, see you tomorrow for the next one. Bye.